The lobby of the Crescent Meridian Hotel smelled of polished marble and expensive silence. Everything about the place was designed to make people feel smell, except the woman stepping inside. Elena Cross, CEO of Crosstech Industries, paused just past the revolving doors. At 42, she was a self-made millionaire, featured on magazine covers, quoted in business schools, admired by investors, and feared by competitors. Her tailored navy suit costs more than some people's monthly rent. Her schedule was timed down to the minute. Yet for reasons she couldn't explain, her chest suddenly felt tight. Across the lobby, near a row of leather chairs, stood a man in a faded brown jacket. He was bent slightly, tying the shoelace of a little girl with curly hair, while another twin clutched his hand and chatted endlessly about something only children find important. The man laughed softly, a tired, gentle laugh. Elena froze. She knew that laugh. The world around her, blurred as a memory she had buried for years, clawed its way back to the surface. Daniel. 10 years earlier, Daniel Harris had been everything she wasn't supposed to want. He was kind in a quiet way, worked 2 jobs, fixed broken things instead of throwing them away. He believed in family dinners, handwritten notes, and staying even when life got hard. Elena had been ambitious, hungry, terrified of becoming small-town invisible. She loved Daniel, but she loved the future she imagined even more. When she got the offer that would change her life, Silicon Valley, fast growth, endless potential, Daniel had been holding 2 tiny newborns in his arms. Twins. Her twins. She remembered the way he looked at her that night. Not angry, not pleading, just broken. "I won't stop you," he had said, "but I can't follow you there with them. They need roots. Stability." She had nodded, hugged them, kissed the babies' soft heads, and walked away. She told herself she'd come back when things were settled. She never did. Now, standing in a luxury hotel lobby a decade later, Elena watched Daniel lift one of the girls into his arms as she complained about tired feet. He carried her, Izoli, like he had done it 1,000 times, which he had. The twins looked about 10, bright, healthy, laughing, alive. Something inside Elena cracked. She hadn't planned this trip to be emotional. She was here for a merger announcement, a press conference, a celebration of success, but all she could see was what she had left behind. Daniel looked up. Their eyes met. Time stop. Time stop. Recognition passed over his face, not shock, not anger. Just a slow, quiet understanding. Like a door he had closed long ago had suddenly been knocked on. "Elena," he said, calmly. The twins turned to look at her. "Daddy, who's that?" One asked. Daniel hesitated for half a second, a lifetime, compressed into a breath. "She's someone I used to know." Elena's throat tightened. She stepped forward, heels clicking too loudly on the marble floor. "They're beautiful," she whispered. "Both of them." Daniel nodded. "They always have been." There was no accusation in his voice. That hurt more than anger ever could. They sat. Not as a family. Not as strangers. Just 3 people tied together by choices that could never be undone. Elena learned that Daniel worked as a maintenance supervisor now, that he coached the girls' soccer team, that life had been hard but full. The twins talked about school, pets, dreams. One wanted to be a scientist, the other an artist. Elena listened, tears burning her eyes, realizing she was hearing 10 years of stories she would never be part of. Finally, she broke. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice shaking. "I told myself I was building a future, but I was really running from fear, and I lost everything that mattered." Daniel studied her for a long moment. Then he spoke the words she didn't expect. "You didn't lose everything," he said gently. "You lost us. But you found what you were chasing. That matters too." A tear slipped down Elena's cheek. "I think about you every day," she confessed. "But I didn't know how to come back once I became someone else." Daniel smiled faintly. "I stayed because I already was who I wanted to be." The twins were called away by a hotel staff member with complimentary cookies. Alone now, Elena reached into her purse and pulled out a business card. If you ever need anything, college, medical care, anything at all, Daniel pushed the card back. They don't need money, he said. They needed a father who stayed. And that part I did right. She nodded, defeated, but understanding. As she stood to leave, Elena looked back at the place where her life had split into two paths. I hope you're happy, she said. Daniel looked toward his daughters, laughing near the cookie table. I am, he replied. I really am. That night, Elena Cross stood on the balcony of her penthouse suite, the city glittering beneath her. For the first time in years, the success felt hollow, not useless, but incomplete. She had won the world and lost a family, and somewhere below, a single dad walked hand in hand with two girls, tired but full, having already found the kind of wealth that never shows up on a balance sheet. Elena didn't sleep that night. She sat on the edge of her hotel bed long after the city lights dimmed, replaying the twins' laughter in her mind. Not the sound of regret, but the sound of life that had gone on without her. At dawn, she made a decision. Instead of heading to the press conference, Elena walked back into the Crescent Meridian lobby, dressed simply now. No assistants, no phone pressed to her ear. She asked the concierge one question only. Is Daniel Harris still staying here? He was. She found him outside, tying the twin scarves against the morning chill. The girls looked up when they saw her. Elena, Daniel said, surprised but calm. She knelt in front of the twins, her voice steady but soft. I won't pretend I can be your mother, she said. You already have everything you need. But if there's room in your lives, I'd like to be someone who shows up. Daniel searched her face, not for wealth, not for promises, but for truth. I'm not asking to take anything away, she continued. I'm asking to earn a place. Slowly. On your terms. The twins looked at their father. He exhaled. We'll take it one day at a time, Daniel said. That was all she was given, and for the first time in her life, it was a no. Months later, Elena was still CEO, but she stopped measuring success in headlines. She flew in quietly for soccer games, helped with science projects, sat in uncomfortable bleachers instead of boardrooms. She missed meetings. She gained something better. One evening, after a school play, the twins ran to Daniel first and, without thinking, grabbed Elena's hands too. She felt it then. Not forgiveness, not redemption, belonging. Daniel watched from a distance, a small smile forming. Not because the past had been fixed, but because the future had finally been faced honestly. Some choices cost everything. Others cost pride, and the hardest ones, the ones that matter most, begin when you stop trying to win and start trying to stay. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content that touches the heart. See you next time.